We need to talk about the R word. When people use the R word, it's usually not to describe someone who has a disability. It's used to describe someone who's inadequate.
Your daughter Chloe is retarded at directions.
Something that doesn't function correctly.
I think that transformer's retarded.
Something that's crazy.
My flow retarded, HBD departed.
Or something that kids, just say.
It's really common with our kids and stuff. It's just like when they throw out the word, oh, that's so gay.
We hear this line of thinking all the time, but how does it hold up when presented to people who are actually affected by disabilities? This is Paul. Paul is a young man from Brooklyn who has Down syndrome, and this is Paul's mom, Margaret. So you're obviously very sensitive about people using the R word because your son has Down syndrome. But you know that when people are using the R word, they're not talking about your son directly.
Well, no, they're not talking about my son directly, but when they use the R word, it's in a very negative way. It's used to make fun of people, to ridicule, so it's hurtful.
But it's just like a harmless saying. It's like, that's so gay.
But it's not a harmless thing. I mean, my son is Down syndrome and he's gay. Both those things would be hurtful and disrespectful to him.
Paul's family has made an effort not to label their son. As a result, he's been able to identify himself on his own terms. So, how's it going?
I'm fabulous, you?
I'm good. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am homosexual, and I feel fabulous about it.
Paul has been able to live a rich life full of music.
One of my favorite hobbies is karaoke.
Crushes.
One of my favorite actors is Darren Criss. I have a crush on him.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Dreams.
I want to be a pop culture TV star.
Are you born to be a star?
Always.
And thanks to the support of his family, he doesn't let his disability define him.
My son was encouraged to do whatever he could do. He's very passionate about life and about what he wants to do with his life, and he goes about doing it.
I'm a Brooklyn diva. If you want to come out and express yourself, it's okay to be different.
Did you always find it easy to be different, or sometimes it was hard?
It's not that hard, just it felt great. I feel powerful.
Clearly, Paul is anything but inadequate or crazy or any of the other negative things we associate with the R word. And yet, when we use the word as an insult, it's hard to claim we're not referencing people like him. Intellectual disabilities are still the #1 thing associated with the R word. And if you spend time with any of the 6.5 million people living with intellectual disabilities or their families, it's clear that they're not comfortable with how casually the word is used in our culture.
Why are you constantly using a word like the R word as an insult?
The R word is a hateful word.
It made me feel like I wasn't compatible to what other people could do. And I never want to hear of that word again.
That's my concern with, use of the R word. People with developmental disabilities have feelings, they can be hurt, and you need to just maybe get to know them. Go out and learn for yourself.
So when is it okay to use the R word? If you stop and think about the implications of the word and what it means and who it reaches, it becomes easy to answer that question for yourself. Never.